Hi, I'm Steve. This is Fran. Today, we're going to talk about two affordable luxury categories. One is LG Studio, and the other would be Bosch. So where are we going to start?
Yeah, so great comparison here. So let's start with ranges. Ranges as a whole, let's start with gas ranges.
LG is hard. It's hard to beat an LG gas range. You know, everyone thinks they got to go to Pro to get, high output. But they've got two 20,000 BTU burners on the front, and that's as good as most Pros. I mean, Blue Star's got 25, but typically Thermador's got 18. I mean, and it's not an expensive unit. And then you have the large oven, right? 6.3 cubic feet, warming draw underneath, smart, capable, griddle in the middle. That's a really solid range.
Yeah, 6.3 versus 4.8 on the Bosch as well. And this is definitely, I think, a comparison. The Bosch cooking the range is an older range for sure. They've had some small changes and upgrades to it over the years, but this is really a difference too of like the technology that's built into the LG Studio versus the Bosch that's really kind of still old school. Even when you look at the controls and the control panel, you look at the Bosch, everything's just right there in front of you. It's not a digital, they're all digital, of course, the digital control, but all the options are there. Whereas on the Studio, it's a nice sleek design, it's hidden, things pop up as you need them. Also installation-wise, very differently too. So Bosch is kind of one of the last remaining really true slide-ins. So unfinished on the sides, truly overlaps your counters as well.
Well, that's good because, if you spill something, when was the last time anyone cleaned the side of their range?
Exactly.
It doesn't happen. So having a slide-in is good, except it's hard you can't just pop it into an existing space.
Yeah.
So I happen to like slide-ins. I think Bosch and Samsung are the only ones left doing them. But, put it in there, you never have to worry about, the dripping on the side. So I don't think that is a problem. I do think, the range needs, as nice looking as it is, and I think it's got a nice industrial design to it, and that's one thing that Bosch has done really well. I do think it needs a refresh from burner output, and you don't have that. You don't have the griddle in the middle, which I kind of like. So for this, I would say LG.
Yeah, I'd go LG as well. And also just speaking of the convection system as well, LG kind of has that kind of cool pro-bake convection system that is really cool, like a true European convection built into the Studio range as well. Whereas again, the Bosch is kind of that single convection. So I'd definitely lean towards the Studio.
Yeah, LG and Blue Star are the only ones that have an all gas with the element behind. Yeah. The way everybody else works is, the heating element, and then the fan kicks it to distributes it that way, but it's much more even the other way.
Yeah. All right, now let's talk about induction ranges.
Well, I think it's a little bit closer here because you get the bridge elements, warming drawers. I think LG's got more updated, but style is really depends on what you think. I do like the size. LG, you're talking 6.3 cubic feet versus what's about 4.7 on the Bosch, somewhere in there under 5. To me, I think Bosch has always been historically reliable, but this year LG, according to 37,000 service calls we did last year, LG was number one in terms of induction ranges. And induction ranges aren't like induction cooktops. Induction ranges have more problems because they use all the circuit, 50 amps. So something you got to be mindful of there.
Yeah, and just with kind of the Bosch as well, like the nice thing with the LG Studio line, LG obviously in general has tons, but LG Studio line, they're kind of condensed a little bit as far as models. So it's really, there's not a lot to compare with. One thing with Bosch you have to be aware of too is they have, for ranges, they have an 800 series and a benchmark series. So to get some of those better induction features like that flex burner, which we really like on the Bosch, you have to make sure you're jumping up also to the benchmark line. Sure. So I think they're both really good. I think Bosch does a great induction cooktop in general. I think from a value perspective, the oven, the features on the controls and all that, I think I would lean LG Studio here.
Okay. Too. What's next?
So let's talk about refrigeration.
This is a tough one because you got to like the Bosch. It's a newer fridge. It's got 2 compressors, one for the refrigerator, one for freezer. Always worked for the Sub-Zero story. If you have 1 in 1, right? There's no taste crossover, no temperature crossover, food should taste better, less defrosting, on and on, right? The LG story, I mean, the Studio story is this new Counter Max. You know, the Bosch is a 20 cubic foot French door, right? Good features, stainless back on that, so you put your milk next to it so it gets colder quickly. But the LG Studio's 26.5 cubic feet. And that is a lot. That's like 30%, 32% more. They do the door cooling plus, so it vents down the top and recirculates in the back. So it only has one evaporator, one compressor, but supposedly the temperature recirculates so you don't have that crossover. This is a really tough one.
It really is.
So is it technology or is it size?
Yeah.
Because you can't have both. Of course, you can have both if you go to the regular LG line with 2 compressors, 9 sensors, and everything else in it. But the Studio is really about Counter Max. That's where it's going. So it really depends on how much refrigeration you use. What do you think?
Yeah, and they both have a ton of different options too. As far, well, I should say, the Bosch will have a lot of different options as far as kind of like the style. So you can get them in kind of regular 3-door French door, 4-door French door, handles, recessed handles. So they give you a lot to be able to blend that in. This is a tough one because the Bosch, I think, is a really excellent refrigerator with the dual compressors, the stainless steel interior, excellent lighting in the Bosch too. So like really the lighting is phenomenal in there. LG definitely from a capacity standpoint, I think obviously has the advantage there. Installation wise, I would say too, because the door sometimes can be thick on those LGs. So you got to make sure that you have the clearance on the side, really with any fridge, but a little bit more pronounced on the LG. I like them both a lot. Here, I'm going to go Bosch here.
I'm going to go LG, but here's one thing, right? You have to be comfortable with the linear compressor situation. 2014 to 2017, they have a brand new compressor. It wasn't up to standards. They got sued and they settled that suit in 2019. But since then, now we weren't really into LG before in that area. It has been the most reliable refrigerator, but you can be comfortable with that. You know, if you've had one, you've been burnt, then definitely go with the Bosch. But right now, according to the service stats, they happen to be the most reliable.
Yeah.
But certainly from technology, I would say Bosch is the best. But you're going to get the size in the LG. I happen to like the LG better, but we'll call it Bosch. Why not?
Perfect. There we go. All right, let's jump to wall ovens.
In my humble opinion, that LG Studio wall oven with the speed oven, which is convection, microwave, combination with the way they have the controls. So it's like easy use with the auto cook, the sensor and everything else over a steam assist oven for $3,000 is the best wall oven for the money in the industry.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
Period. I think that wall oven is sensational for the price.
Yeah. Personally, I think this category is probably the biggest discrepancy between the two of them. I think just the wall oven, like you said in the studio, whether it's a regular double oven, the combination oven with the speed and microwave combo, Bosch here is definitely a little dated, the single convection.
It's nicely styled though.
Yeah.
It's nicely styled, but to get the same thing, you've got to get their speed oven over a single oven. You're paying what, $8,000 is it? Versus $3,000? And you know, the LG people, you know, they have the SKS oven, which is called the Takarians, or whatever that word is, but they make technology really easy. Whatever it is.
The Epicurian.
No, it's Technicurians.
Yeah, some Technicurian. You know? Yeah, that's what was the playoff.
We're not marketing people. I mean, I'm sure there's some.
They're good at that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. But it's about making. You know, it's one thing to say I've got a speed oven. It's another one to use it. And with that oven, if you come in the store, you're hitting buttons to do things that in 2 seconds that you could be comfortable with.
And Bosch, you can do the single kind of combo oven as well, but you're still going to spend a good chunk more than you would on a studio for sure.
And it's not that Bosch is bad; it's just that this category, LG seems to have figured out.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely figured out.
All right, let's jump to cooktops now.
Cooktops. When you talk about induction cooktops, you're talking about Bosch, you know, with their, you know, the Liberty, you know, with the flex induction, with the bridge elements and everything else. But what really drives Bosch, in my opinion, and their inductions, whether you're talking about Thermador, Gaggenau, Bosch, is that it is the most reliable product. Clearly, on the cooktops all the time. I happen to like their induction cooktop.
Yeah, I think they make great cooktops in general. Bosch Induction is a great. I love, on their higher end series with the flex on both sides, as well. Kind of just in going back to gas cooktops as well. I think they do a really nice job. We've talked in the past about like Thermador and their layout. Bosch is, same company, the same exact layout. Yeah, so just different burner style, but same
But if
layout.
we're talking about different things, like, we talk about LG Studio, and SKS. That SKS induction cooktop
Phenomenal.
is 7,000 watt element in the middle. 7,000.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else is what, 3,600?
I was going to say, everyone else is pretty similar other than them. So
7,000. It's got an LCD screen in there. And not only that, but if you touch the button, it not only will tell you if your induction pans work, but what the ferrous content in is. Because, the higher the ferrous content, the better your induction pots will cook. So if we're adding, SKS and Thermador in there, that SKS induction cooktop is probably the best you can buy. Or one of them next to Thermador Freedom, and then Wolf's got one too.
But on Studio versus Bosch, what do we think in cooktops?
I think Bosch.
Let's go Bosch. I agree. Dishwashers, final category.
This one isn't as easy. I mean, you don't mail in the Bosch. I think Bosch did a great job with the power control, where you can control how it washes by quadrant.
Yeah.
Really nice. And I really, it's quiet, and the crystal dries better than anybody. No question about it.
Yeah.
However, steam works in a dishwasher, right? And LG has got the steam in their dishwasher. I sold one to my neighbor, and I baked some macaroni, and I did that on purpose, put it in there, and it cleaned it. I had to wipe a little bit off, but it really powers out stuff. So although we're probably going to say Bosch is a better dishwasher, I would say that LG and the LG line with steam, that's a really hard dishwasher to ignore at $900.
Yeah, no question. And LG, I mean, they've gotten better and better every year lately on dishwashers. And like you said, the steam works really well. The reliability has been
most
phenomenal.
reliable dishwasher, most reliable appliance you can buy over the last 3 years. Appliance in any category other than hoods, LG dishwasher. I mean, they were 1.7 2 years ago. I think they were like 3.5% service in the first year. And Bosch is right next to them at 5%, which is excellent. But a lot to be said. Good. This is a good comparison. Probably you're going to go with Bosch.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Bosch. I think I'll give them the history part, but just from what they do as well. I think the crystal dry really does work phenomenally.
Yeah, crystal dry is great.
They have really good kind of features. I mean, and of course you can compare features all day long with them. They're very similar, but as far as kind of, I think just that crystal dry specifically, it works very, very well. I'd lean Bosch here on dishwashers.
Okay, so is that it?
That's it.
All right,
Last one.
That's LG Studio versus Bosch. If you like the comparisons, hit the subscribe button, and we'll have more. And thanks for watching.